My name is Satish Gupta. I'm a Raymond Alvarez Professor of Emerging Issues in Soil and Water. I have a 65% research and 35% teaching. Teach two classes, contaminant hydrology for the undergraduate and beta zone hydrology for the graduate students. I have two graduate students, Carrie Wolf. She's a master's degree second year in water resources science, and Nathaniel Bomber. So I just kind of follow Stacy's outline. My interests, they have changed over the last 40-some years. I'm right now working on mostly on physical and contaminant hydrology, fate and transport of chemicals like antibiotics, unsaturated soil mechanics, and use of recyclable materials and its consequences. Passion is what is the role of changing climate or water quality? How is the landscape interacting with water bodies like Minnesota River and Lake Pepin? And some legacy issues, what have we done in the river in the past and how that's impacting our present water quality concerns. Goals, immediate goal last 4 or 5 years, role of changing climate on river flows and transport. Testing and remediation technologies on tile water, mechanisms of riverbank failure, sediment as a carrier of chemicals, and role of wing dams and closing dams on increased sedimentation in Lake Pepin. Many of you guys are familiar that we have a more wet climate, there are more areas that are coming which has a higher precip, and the question has been, why are the rivers increasing in flow? So here is a stream flow versus precip. This was in the past from 1937 to 75, and now we're getting a lot more precip over here, and that's the reason we are getting a lot more flow. So that's one of the concerns that MPCA has, because they were saying most of the sediments, they finally got convinced from our work, it's the banks that are putting out the sediment in Lake Pepin and the Minnesota River. So their next idea was we put a tile line in the system, and they were saying they are taking the undercutting of the banks, and that's how the banks were coming down. This is a Lusur River in 2012, and they put a rocks over here to control the undercutting. See what happens 2015, those rocks are being covered from the soil from the top, and here is a soil coming in 2016. So it's a seepage process that's bringing those banks down and going into the river. It has nothing to do with the undercutting. This is Carrie Wolf's project. She's looking at use of anion resins, industrial technology, try to remediate nitrate. This is a field where we have a setup over here. It's about 40-acre soybean field, and last year we had the tile line coming and pushing through the water in the two of the columns, and there's too much water coming, so this is the excess that's taking it out. In 1988, there was a fish kill in Lake Pepin, and one of the reasons was we got too much phosphorus, and they were blaming agricultural land. They were putting a lot of phosphorus. And Ashley Grutner, who was a student here, who showed them it's not the agricultural phosphorus, it was the phosphorus that came from the sewage treatment plants, and the bank particles were picking it up and depositing. Now, recent concern has been there used to be native mussels in the Minnesota River, and now they're blaming that there is too much sediment in the river, and the population got decimated because of the sediment. We're looking at other aspects of it, because this lady over here from the USGS, she has shown that you don't need very high concentration of ammonia in the water, and mortality of the larvae of the mussel is very, very low. So we're trying to see how the nitrate ammonia might be transported from the sewage treatment plants with the sediment to some of the lakes and others. This is a collaboration with Carl Rosa. In 1965, this is how Mankato looked like, and this was the Minnesota River in the back over here. And you can see if the water is spreading in the city, where would the sediment go? Right where the water is. Then they put the levee over there, and now they're complaining over sediments in Lake Pepin. If the water is contained in the river, sediments are going to go with the water. In 1864, Mississippi River didn't have enough deep enough water to bring the steamboats to St. Paul. So they decided, the Army Corps of Engineers, we're going to have wing dams. These are made out of willows. They put the mats over there, put the rocks and make a layer. And the idea was just contain the water in the Mississippi so there is no floodplain interaction. The more water in the river is going to scour the river over there and keep the 4-foot deep channel. So we're trying to look at what is the role that this has played in terms of more sediment going to Lake Pepin. And this is the lake where close by where I live. I'm done.